crude oil is perhaps the most researched industry of primary products. Political determinants and unpredictable price fluctuations both contribute to the volatile nature of this industry. The majority of the top 10 exporting countries are members of the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, which have banded together to collectively regulate oil distribution among themselves. The oil industry has three levels: upstream, midstream and downstream, which encompass the main segments in the supply chain. The overall production of oil is driven by global demand. The supermajors of oil industry are Saudi Aramco, ExxonMobil, Royal Dutch Shell, BP, Chevron, Total SA and ConocoPhillips. Just as crude oil prices have increased in the past decade, so have environmental, social and patricial concerns related to the industry. The oil-producing companies are focusing from time to time on environmental concerns about the crude oil industry, the new global standards and policies that have emerged in regards to these issues, the extent to which these standards are effective, and the degree to which these new standards hold the ability to drive empirical change. Shell considers its suppliers as assets. The threat of bargaining power of suppliers for Shell is low due to partnership, supply chain management, training and dependency. Primary strengths are extremely high quality, asset base, talented technical personnel, strong management and a strong balance sheet. Moreover, its global spread of assets, financial strength, its people and the depth and breadth of their operational skills highly contributed to reduce the threat of suppliers' bargaining power. The environmental issues concerning the depletion of fossil fuel resources and climate change have sparked consumers' demand for greener fuel alternatives and put additional stress on oil companies, including Shell, to revamp their traditional diesel and petrol offerings. This demand can cause Shell to spend more on its R&D. The threat of a new entrant and rival to such a giant multinational company like Shell seems very low because everything is diversified in the industry, and for a new entrant to take on Shell could require billions of sum. Shell's management strategy has reduced the friction of threat from the new entrants in the business by increasing minimum efficient scales of operation, its cohesive and good status with suppliers and distributors, retaliation tactics, protection of property, and establishing a competitive and trustful image to its customers. The big issue in the oil industry is the climate change that has led the customers to demand greener products in substitute. Since oil reserves are limited and it has been estimated that the world could run out of oil in the near future, this could roll over all other oil companies including Shell, which also reminds them of thinking substitutions. Any business competition, price is significant because it attracts customers. The less you price a product, the more customers you gain. Yet, in competitive rivalry, in order to reduce it, avoidance to price competition is necessary, which is observed by Shell. Shell is not competing on price, but on how to manage strategy, and that would best leverage a product. Dependent on where Shell gets its resources from, there will always be differences on the taxation which influences the activities and profitability of Shell. Low taxes make it cheaper for Shell to operate and automatically bring higher profit to the company, which Shell can then use to expand its operations. Low taxes also encourage shareholders and investors to give more financial support. If the taxes are raised up by the government, then the spending of Shell can be discouraged, which may mean high prices and low profitability and less investment by Shell. This will ultimately result in the fall of Shell's economy to some extent. As Shell very often operates in underdeveloped countries, it has constructed several developmental programs provided by government and private sectors. The main development features of a country are human development, technological development, energy creation and infrastructures. The programs for these developments are planned and conducted to achieve sustainable economic growth, as these are important for the growth of economy. If government spending is high and the economy of a country is in a good condition, people have a higher purchasing power, which is then used to pay for luxury goods as those from Shell. A bad economy decreases the sales of Shell. When the government decreases the interest rates, people move towards businesses and borrow loans from banks to afford their cars. This increases the fuel needs and is also added in Shell's profitability. When the interest rates increase, the loans are the least to be borrowed. Local communities where Shell operates are often concerned about their safety. Shell has therefore introduced safety measures in order to protect residents. Doing this, Shell hopes to get the people's trust, and it is their commitment to improve the well-being of local communities by providing health facilities and supporting the development of local schools and universities. Projects Shell chooses are sustainable, deliver lasting benefits, and are self-supporting when their participation ends. They involve local support and have a measurable positive impact, meeting community needs. Technology thinking is helping to shape the energy future. At Shell, they are unlocking new resources and squeezing more from existing resources to power the world. Technology is helping to unlock major sources of natural gas trapped in dense rock, dramatically altering the energy landscape. From raising energy efficiency to extracting more oil, Shell is trying to find innovative ways to help meet the world's energy demand and reduce emissions. Shell aims to provide energy in responsible ways and serve all its stakeholders effectively. Shell's main internal stakeholders are its shareholders, employees, and suppliers. They provide a sizable part of the capital required to set up and run the business. As stakeholders, employees are influenced by Shell, but also affect how Shell operates. The employees' standard of work and commitment to health and safety and excellence is vital in order to keep Shell as a leader in the energy field. Shell is committed to satisfy the needs of its external stakeholders. Customers want value for money, which involves providing the highest quality fuels at a competitive price. Research drives this process. Shell has operations in many countries across all regions of the globe. To gain approval to operate in these countries, it has shown the host governments that it's operating in the right way. This includes creating jobs, paying taxes, and providing important energy supplies. Shell is also working with governments to promote the need for more effective regulations on CO2 emission. Partnership activities with other oil companies have included building new oil or gas supply lines and new refineries. This reinforces its position in the market and can help to attract new customers through a positive reputation. Shell talks regularly with major pressure groups, Friends of the Earth and Greenpeace, about key issues. These principles set out what Shell stands for and define its behavior. Shell has resolved and minimized conflicts between its activities and its stakeholders through its clear strategies and commitment to corporate values.
Shell's strategy states that global needs are expanding and changing rapidly. Energy markets are therefore becoming volatile. Developing new supplies presents increasing challenges, and we must find ways of dealing with carbon dioxide emissions. Shell's strategy is more upstream and profitable downstream. More upstream means focusing investment on long-term, high-return projects to develop oil and gas resources and grow Shell's leading liquefied natural gas business. Downstream in the strategy, therefore, means generating more cash by reshaping an integrated oil products and petroleum portfolio to enhance operations and focus on growth markets, particularly in Asia and the rest of the world. The Shell company can boast of huge infrastructure which they have acquired over the years of experience and operation. Their investment strategy has been one of their main strengths. This could be because the company appears to be venturing into new countries and selling their petroleum products on a very wide scale. Shell aims to carry out innovations to keep in touch with the rest of the world, create positive social awareness, and also to include employees in resource management to encourage them. Distribution is a strength. This is because Shell products or Shell label is widely spread over the world and widely known to many consumers. Opportunities could be seen where there is widespread availability of untapped oil around the world for Shell. Threats could also come as recent issues of the depreciating ecosystem